Well, I guess I'm not going to be doing that. All right, we'll do this instead. I'm not sure why the dev server's down. Oh. Okay. Well, I was gonna just do a post-stress test. Play of a character, but I guess that is not in the cards. Alright, so I guess we'll do a little bit of work. Self-situated better. Helen Tech. Thank you for the... or I did not read that right. Hey, Helen Tech. Thank you for the follow. Or I did not read that right. Alright. So, like I said, I was originally planning on just doing a kind of post-stress test display session to kind of unwind after the weekend, but the development server seems to be down, and I don't want to dox friends and family members by playing on the friends and family server, so I will not jump on there. I saw Erkenstaff pushed more signage updates, so I'm wondering where they are, because I have not actually popped in to see. So let's fly around a little bit and see if we can spot any new signs. Some of these are going to be the temp ones that I made. These are all temp ones. It could also just be, you know what, it might be, yeah, it was fixing the spelling on the one. That was the update. Hey, Lawful. How's it going? Hey, Nick. How are you doing? How do you guys feel about the stress test? Excited? Rewarded? I'm very positive. I think I speak for a lot of the team when I say I think it went pretty well. It went better than I expected, actually. Not that I, thought it was going to crash and burn, but there was always that chance it would go sideways on us. But some of the numbers and stuff that I've seen, and I'm sure Lee has got a ton more, were much better than I was expecting us to get even like a week ago. So overall, I think it went pretty well. It was pretty crazy from like our standpoint. Getting to see that many people running around in the city you built, at the dungeons you built, was a lot of fun. Seeing how many people would have died in my pit trap in Wyrmsbane made me laugh every time I hopped in there and then threw reses at people's corpses. But yeah, it was great. It was great, seeing people run around, seeing people react. I was hopping on as many streams as I could. I had like I was on 4 servers. We only had 3 of them open to the public. I was on 4 for a while there, but really on 3. And I'd had anywhere between 3 and 5 streams going, like on my one monitor up there, trying to see how everyone was reacting, and thanking people for hopping into the stream, or hopping in and helping us out. But yeah, no, it was really a cool experience. And then I was buffing on. Thank you for this out. Hey, Rasset Knife, welcome to the stream, or welcome to the chat. Anyways, yeah, I was like, second day, I started buffing people that were hailing me. I was buffing, I think, a little bit the first day, but on server 1, it definitely got out real quick that I was buffing people with Sal. And it was like constant just line of people in front of me. I thought it was hilarious. Bows before you. Hey, Quixana. Just starting your day? Nice. I was happy to see so many people find out about Eminem. Seems successful. I'm excited for the future of the team. That's great news. Yeah, no, I'm excited too. It was, like I said, it was really fun just to see people enjoying it. Even, I mean, it's obviously still early in development. A lot of it's just gray box geo, with a couple textures repeatedly thrown on. We have one character model that's been reworked, one that's halfway through being reworked, and then 2 that are kind of using the old tech that we had set up. And the screenshots that people had when the gnome like broke and it looked like it was like Hannibal Lecter like wearing somebody's face. Oh, I mean, we hadn't seen that one that I'm aware of. That was a fun bug. Horrifying at the same time. But yeah, no, it was great. And overall, it seemed like everyone had a positive take, and not that just that, their the things that they were expressing, that they were feeling or that they were doing were things that we as designers wanted to be the experience, and wanted to be how what we're crafting is to make you guys, the players, and ourselves. I mean, let's be honest, we're all making a game that we want to play, but having players saying that on their own was a little bit of validation that we're going down the right path for us as well. And then just sitting back and in chat on Slack and just listening to and watching Ali do his magic, and and fixing all sorts of issues on the fly, was really cool. He claims he's not, but I'm convinced he's a wizard. There's nothing he can say to convince me otherwise. I wish I had been recording, because I was standing over here for a good portion of it, and I was standing here when the servers came up. It was so funny when we brought up that one server on Friday, watching not everybody, but everybody in this newbie yard spawning from here and just spreading out into this giant mass of people, and then just watching the server just bog down, and then the lag and the rubber banding and stuff stuttering. But the fact that we got like 820 to 900 people, I don't know what the final count actually was, on the server before, and the server didn't in one zone, and the server didn't crash, was impressive. Was it optimal? No. But the fact that it didn't just immediately crash was pretty cool. So much fun to explore your work. The city felt more grand in person. Awesome. I'm glad you appreciated it. And I'm glad for the most part. And it is a huge city, and I get some people out there say it's too big. There's at times as the person building it, I'm like, is this too big? But the fact that most people that are at least commenting that I've seen said that they had a pretty, that they were able to kind of figure it out and figure out the layout and kind of figure out the thoroughfares and stuff like that. Because while being big, I tried to make it so that it would be at least easy enough to figure out. Yeah, it was definitely, first AVP, it was definitely over 820. I don't think I have a screenshot of it, but I did a /who all, which I don't even know if you guys as players have access to /who all, and we were over 820 was the highest I saw. Somebody said that they saw 900, but I don't know that for a fact. I'm sure Ali will have it in his infograph when we eventually excuse me get around to releasing that. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be in the whatchamacallit, the newsletter update that'll be going out in probably a couple days. I just put all this stuff together from my side today. Hey Zukin, how's it going? I couldn't participate. I was building a nursery. But was actually watching streams excitedly. Awesome. Well, at least you got to see the streams and kind of saw what was going on and things like that. What's next for the team? Was the stress test a milestone? Oh, it was a huge milestone. Part of the reason we wanted to do it, one, you guys have been following, a lot of you guys have been here since at least I joined the team, and me and Zukin joined the team like almost, it'll be 2 years in like September, was when I started working on stuff, but not publicly known to be working on, but I was working on stuff in September. But yeah, so getting you guys in and letting you guys kind of get a feel for it, and then making sure that the server tech and stuff is going to work. So it's not like we develop the whole world and then turn on the switch, find out the switch is broken, and then have to go back to the drawing board. Yeah, 1 year, 9 months. That's about the same for me. Which is crazy. This last year especially has flown by. But yeah, it was definitely a huge milestone. And again, just everyone being able to see it and react to it, I think was a good positive thing for the game and the project going forward. Hey, how's Ridge? Thanks for the sal the other day. Oh, no problem. I really want to see if Ali will throw a or can get the stat of how many times I buffed people with Sal on Saturday, because I had to have buffed like 500 people or more. It was a lot of people. I was pretty much going from like one screen to the next screen to the next screen and just doing that over and over and over again. And then trying to like comment in other people's streams and stuff like that. It was absolute Monsters and Memories overload. Felt like I was getting pulled in like a million different directions. I changed my mind on the city, and now I think it's a good size. Awesome. Yeah, it especially the city isn't being used how we want it to be used right now. So eventually there's even going to be a sub-layer. So there's going to be, right now it's just water down here, and you guys can see the the secret location. Oh, I meant to put a picture of this in the update stuff. I'll have to update that. So I've shown this off on my stream, but the fighting pit that I hid underneath the marketplace, which unfortunately no one was able to find because it was behind locked doors. But there's near the shadier side of the night market, there's a secret wall here that gets you to the fighting pit, which is eventually it'll be a smaller PvP arena. So small, tight corridors. There'll be larger ones, I'm sure, as well. But I thought a cool underground fighting pit would be kind of cool. Yeah, so down here, you know, there'll be other stuff going on. There'll be sewers and kind of dungeons going on over here. There's going to be dungeons and stuff going on over here. This complex might be filled out a little bit more as well. There's, you know, going to be a dungeon over here. You know, this is going to be a kind of an outdoor dungeon. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. Multiple, you know, multiple factions that are kind of at each other's throats type of a situation. So some, you know, depending on who you're factioning with, you may or may not want to walk into certain areas. That type of thing. But, so yeah, as it goes on, you know, there'll be more and more stuff. A lot of the houses, you know, that have the doors and stuff like that, will eventually have, probably player housing in them, or will be used for something else that we just haven't, decided yet. But Sean wanted to kind of block those off, for right now to help, you know, people kind of help, again, direct people through areas and learn the city, learn the main points instead of getting lost in a bunch of currently empty buildings. That, again, more often, or, you know, a lot of them will probably end up being player housing at some point. Once Oli applied those fixes, it was smooth sailing. Yeah, Cacao. The fixes worked pretty well. I mean, every fix was a pretty noticeable difference. The one, you know, the one exception, I guess, was that first patch on Saturday did do a lot for loading. But there was, I think he said he overcompensated on the throttling that was causing the rubber banding. But as far as I understand, that rubber banding you were seeing was just visual. You were everybody was actually updating properly. It was just a visual update bug. So as you were moving around, other players didn't look like they were moving, but they were moving. Any guesstimates on how long it's going to take to finish Night Harbor? Not entirely. So, I believe the plan, to kind of go back to the, what's next for the team, for environment art, I think we are going to step away, from Night Harbor for a little bit. And with that said, Night Harbor takes way longer to make than an outdoor zone or a dungeon. So for instance, you know, like this came together in like a day or two. This newbie yard over here came together in a day or two, maybe 3. I'll say 3 because Sean did a little bit. Sean did a little bit of this initially, and then I kind of cleaned it up, and just made it flow a little bit nicer. So yeah, probably 2 or 3 days in total here. Wyrmsbane, the initial rough out of it was done in a weekend, and then yeah, I did it in like a day or 2. I can't even remember now. It's been so long. And then I think it took Nick a day-ish to get a base population up. And there's been a lot of tweaking and stuff since then. you know, more stuff added to it in terms of wings and depth and things like that. So the next step is we're going to be building a dungeon off of Deep Dunes. So granted, this is a facade version of Deep Dunes, but somewhere over here. Deep Dunes itself will also be probably rebuilt. Similar layout, probably extended slightly, a little bit longer. And then again, a dungeon added over here. But we're going to add in more content in a couple areas. Again, maybe spruce up Shaded Dunes. You know what? Now that I'm here, I want to make sure, because I saw in a couple streams, yeah, the zone line got adjusted. I thought I fixed that, because I saw people were running all the way out to here. The zone line was supposed to be right there. I don't know how that got moved. So let's do that right now while I'm thinking about it. Come on, I hate Unity's ortho cameras. Emulator's so annoying. I prefer Unreal's, to be honest. But anyways, let me save that before I forget. Because yeah, I saw a bunch of people were like running out to here, on streams and be like, "Oh, I think we're at the end of it," and then they hit the zone line. But that should be fixed. There's also a couple other things that have already been fixed that were not there. I don't know if anybody. I don't see any in the stream. There was a really bad seam around here. Like the stairs over here, I broke by accident. The water volumes, how you could swim above the water. I went to fix another spot and accidentally bumped him up, like, I think, like, 3/4 of a meter or something like that. And those were all fixed. They just didn't. The fixes were just I think I pushed the fix just after we froze the build for the release. So some of the funkiness you guys saw has been already adjusted. Yeah, it doesn't really feel like it. Yeah, it's crazy that it's been that long, Zukin. I already read that under guesstimates. But yeah, I'm not sure 100% how long it'll take. We have a lot done. This area is actually going to be shorter or smaller. So the inlet here will go away. This is probably going to get a ramp up into the front of High Point Terrace up here. And then this area is actually going to probably be under construction. So it's going to end up looking like a construction site. So there'll be like half-built buildings and piles of like lumber and bricks and stuff like that. And then some scaffolding, which will be easier and faster to build than what we're currently doing. And then I really need to kind of just dial in this area that was giving me problems before. And then we need to get up into the upper portion of the ziggurat and High Point Terrace. And this structure is going to look kind of like a high fantasy, Hagia Sophia type structure is kind of what I have in mind for it. So we'll see how it comes out as I work on it. But those are the main things we got to work on. There's a structure over here that needs to get built. Probably another building, a couple more administration buildings, which I'll probably just copy some of these buildings as well will be copied out of the docks. I'll probably just wait until Simon has those optimized to replace them. And then, yeah, doing up here. And then we also have this area. And then The tunnel area, I don't think I'm gonna... It's such a long tunnel. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it as a tunnel. Because that's a lot. We've talked potentially about having, like, you know, buildings and stuff kind of built into the front of it, so there's a bunch of stuff going on. I think I'm going to keep some of that, but I don't know if it'll make the entire length. If it doesn't, I'll probably set up a teleporter from one end to the other. So we'll see how that develops. But that is kind of what we have left for the overworld. You know, there's a lot of extra stuff that'll need to go on here. There's going to be the sewers and stuff underneath. This water needs to get pushed down further, but we'll deal with it when time comes. So I'm really slow on chat today. I'll get caught up, I promise. Just heads up, I fell through the Geo Tower over by Spell. Oh, Hell's Ridge, are you talking about the stairs? Are you talking about this right here? Because I fixed that already. It was actually fixed before the test. Let's see. Need a dev/GM command to buff target range world or zone world. Oh, Zukin already asked stairs. Started playing P99 because of this. Can't wait to get back into testing M&M. EQ Classics just isn't the same. I've seen a couple people make comments in Discord and in other forums saying going back to P99 just doesn't have the same feeling. I think so. I fell all the way through to the ground. Yeah, so if you were running in here real quickly, there's no wall here, so you could fall. You could easily fall through. There may have also been some weird positional things happening just when some of the lag was an issue, depending on what time of the server, like when it happened as well. Took around 30 damage. Maybe Sean moved it. You shoes. Welcome to the chat. I died many a time on the lonely road. Yeah, I was wishing Ali didn't end up doing it. I was wishing Ali was gonna bring up the servers again, just without you guys having access to them, so that we could just like walk through and look at all the corpses. I was totally just gonna do a video of me walking through like a valley of death. And then put it on as like a YouTube short, but that opportunity did not happen. Executive art decision. The man is always up to no good. Making things chunkier and riding horses. Decro BB. Decro BB. For everybody who's new to my streams right now, I apologize. I always read your names wrong. It's kind of a rite of passage at this point, so. Welcome to the stream, first off. Hey guys, I learned about Monsters and Memories today. Missed the most recent stress test. Does the development team have more public tests happening eventually? Let me read the rest of this and I'll answer that. Don't need to know dates or anything, just curious. If that's the routine going forward, would like to participate. Yes. We do want to have more tests. We do want to have more open tests. We do want to have, you know, you guys able to kind of come in. Again, you know, always helping us one, stress test. The more people we get, the more stress tests we have, which is always good for the, you know, the tech and stuff like that. But, you know, it'll help us test out new systems, stuff like that. The stress test itself was important because we want to have more public tests, and some of them might be more, you know, game design specific or system design specific things. Like, we really want you guys to go pile into Wyrmsbane and you know, have multiple groups moving around inside there, or testing the new dungeon out. You know, is it large enough? Do we have enough camps? You know, how many players does it support that are in the right level range, that type of thing. So we definitely want to have more tests going forward, and the success and the things that we've learned from the stress test will help us facilitate those in the future. Join the mailing list and Discord. Yes. For anybody new, if you aren't a member of the Discord, there's the Discord. And there is the mailing list. Those are, if you are interested in further tests, those are great things to join, because those are where we make all of our announcements in both of those. Discord's great because you can communicate with us. You know, we're pretty open with questions. So who's summoning the dragon towards the end of the test case? That was Nick. I think he already had it planned, but I double checked with him towards the end if we wanted to send the servers out with a bang. So thought it'd be a fun, memorable way of going out, was releasing the dragons. And actually the dragons were nerfed a little bit since the last time we did that. The guards were actually able to kill one of them, which surprised me. Granted, it was a group of guards, but the dragon was slaughtering people left and right. Pretty funny. Yeah, it was pretty entertaining. I kept trying to, like, I kept running the ones in the western newbie yard back to here and summoning them, but they kept pathing forward because they had aggro from the guards, and it took a while for the guards to meet them over there. You also death touched it? The one the guards killed? I know I death touched one. I think the guards killed the one. Or if they didn't, if you death touched it, they got him down to like 10%. It's always Nick. Are you actively answering questions? Because I have one. Yeah, ask away. Regardless if, you know, I'm working or not. Again, I was gonna play a little bit today just to kind of unwind and talk with people. I wasn't planning on doing work. Right now I'm just kind of flying around the city. But the dev server was down, and I don't want to dox people who are in friends and family by hopping on the test server, on the friend and family server, which is up. So I might do a little work in a little bit, but again, I wasn't really planning on a ton of work today. It was more of kind of like a post-stress test chat, I guess. Oh, Zukin already did it. I'm super curious. Fighter is a regular fighter. Paladin is a cleric fighter. SK is a necro fighter. What is an inquisitor? Nick already answered this, but I will say it for the sake of everybody who's just listening or will be watching the VOD. The inquisitor is a enchanter fighter. So another hybrid knight type tank. And what's a spellblade? And Nick already answered this one. It is a fighter wizard that is proc based. A lot of their stuff comes through procs. Is the plan there, I believe, unless Nick's gonna shoot me down there, but I'm pretty sure that is correct. Let's see. Awesome. That's great to hear. I can't wait to follow the development of the team and this game as it progresses. I've seen videos on YouTube and stuff you put out a year ago or so, and you guys have already made so much progress since then. It's incredible to see. Yeah, we, for, you know, a team of 17 total, and right now there's only 15 of us actively working on the project, because two of the members are really busy and kind of stepped away for a little bit, but we you know, we're all doing this as a kind of moonlighting type of passion project. It's not our full-time jobs. So the amount of progress we were able to do with a small team working basically part-time for the most part. Granted, my primary day job is teaching game design, and my semester's coming to an end. So from the next, starting in a couple weeks, my contributions to the project turn more full-time, more consistently than they do during the school year. Especially when my kids eventually get out of school, because they spend the summer with their mother, who lives out of state. So I have less going on, so I do more M&M. So I've touched it, but I think they could have got it maybe. That sounds awesome. Let's see. Thanks for the thorn. Oh, hey Stoic. He'd be a good friend if family. Thanks for thorns. They did help, or they didn't help. Oh, that Ashira kept getting the best of you, Stoic. Those Ashira are nasty, especially those Ashira warriors. I guarantee you, at least half the corpses were probably from Ashira. There's an old video run through of all the classes to watch from there. Yep. Oh, and Zukin linked it. Can you get another flyover of the city and the dunes? Yeah. So if I head, this is towards Shaded Dunes. Granted, this version of Shaded Dunes you're going to see right now is a facade version. It's not actual Shaded Dunes you're running around on. There's no trees and, camps or anything like that. It's just the terrain. But yeah, so here's Shaded Dunes. And then you get into, this is kind of the zone line. The Newbie Yard Ruins, Garrison, the kind of western districts. The Travelers Camp with the Sojourners over here and the Hospice over here. And then, you got the Night Market in this area. Twilight Harbor. We also, frequently, we refer to it as the docks on streams, just because the scene it's actually built in is called the docks. So it's just, these are all the sub scenes. The scene itself is actually made up of multiple levels. And then you got Salt Breeze here, which eventually I'll have to move some of the trees and stuff around. There's gonna be like a waterfall here, and like a path and stuff over to the Druid Guild, the Druid Guild and the Shaman Guild, and from the Necropolis over here to kind of the Monk Elementalists Guild. So there'll be some paths in here, but this is also we've talked about using it as like a fairgrounds. So like when we have, you know, like in-game festivities and festivals and stuff like that, and holidays, when there's special merchants and stuff like that, they'll pop up in Salt Breeze. So that is what we've talked about. And then you've got over here towards the necropolis. We have a festival coming up. Time to kill these bats. So yeah, here, you know, here's kind of like the newbie yard. The Concourse of Souls, which is the Necro SK guild. And then you've got the sorry, the music stopped playing. Got the Blackfeather Bazaar in here, which will eventually, you know, this is still super rough, but kind of a little cavern cave merchant area. And then this is kind of the back end of the necropolis. We don't have anything going on over in this area, but you know, eventually there'll be probably more buildings, more tunnels, more tomb facades and stuff like that. Maybe, you know, maybe we expand the newbie yard and add another one over here, just to give a little bit more populations. And then let me fly over here. I need to model the interior to the Spirit tab. I keep telling myself that, and I keep not doing it. And then over here you come out, and here's the northern newbie yard. There's this little like old cemetery here, like, you know, the collapsed cave. Then you've got the grave robber camp, and then their tunnel. They've broken into one of the tombs. Then you've got the kind of farm themed area over here. This newbie yard has gotten super deadly. And then you got there's a well, and there's also a secret entrance. I didn't see a ton of people in here, but I did see a couple corpses right here. But in here you've got a whole little like cavern system that's full of cultists. So got that, and then you got Sage Side, which is still very rough state. High Point Terrace, which you can't even get to. I've blocked off the only entrance, and I haven't built the other one. And then yeah, you got over here to the docks. So it's a pretty big city. Whoop. Stoic, thanks for the 3 months. Appreciate it, man. Hold on, did I miss any chat? Sorry, I'm talking a lot and not paying attention to the chat. I just did that. The Dungeon Skellies, but I was... Oh, it was the Dungeon Skellies, but you were tanking for a group of 3. So bad comp. Or bad comp. That'll do it. Also, you know, that... At like level 2 or 3, I don't remember what level you were, the entrance is rough. Especially if you're not with a full group. There's there the deadliest mob. Tumberg? I probably butchered that name. But welcome to the stream. Hell's Ridge. Do you plan on adding the roll animation to the dwarves? We'll see things how I like Zukin's response. We'll see how things roll out. Thank my wife misses the first fly around. Oh, awesome. Yeah, if you guys ever want to see something, or have any questions about anything I'm doing or anything around, feel free to ask at any time. If I'm working on something, I might just say, hold on a second, let me finish this so I remember what I'm doing. Alright, I already read that one. First time chat from Kinjoy Jimbo. Welcome to the chat. Gives me a better mental image of the city layout. Yeah, I can even give you guys a kind of a above ground view. Yeah, more of an above ground ortho view. I hate Unity's cameras. But yeah, so you can kind of see the main layout to a degree. You know, main gate kind of brings you over towards Sage side and then Acropolis, Salt Breeze, oops, Market District, kind of Western District, Sojourners Camp, Garrison, the docks or Twilight Harbor as you guys see it on the signs. And then this is eventually going to be the Bends, which will be an outdoor... It's kind of like the shady Fisherman's Wharf slums area of the city. And it's going to be an outdoor, like, dungeon area, kind of. And then it'll be an encounter space when it's eventually done. Hey, Captain Cadwell. How you doing? Hold on. When you model the interior, does that mean that you're doing the design, the interior decorations, like ornamentations? When you're modeling it, not particularly. So, the kind of the first step. Let me turn off ISO. How I work, I like to, and it's kind of funny because you'll see how I work and you'll see how Simon works, and we both have our own kind of style. I tend to work kind of blocking, like very blocky, to kind of get like, all right, what's the layout of the structure that I want, and then I'll cut doorways and push and kind of start rooms. And then I'll, see how it feels, run around in it, see if the space feels all right. And then, kind of work out how everything inside kind of flows. Which can be more difficult than making it look cool on the outside, is trying to get it to, like, make sense on the inside. So the interior modeling is just kind of like bringing the rooms in, getting, stairwells, ramps, that type of thing, and then, cutting doorways and windows and stuff like that. Eventually, we'll get to a point where we're propping out stuff, and I've done a little bit here and there, so, like, right now, like, if you go into the Garrison, like, I propped out, like, some armories, and right now, they look flat, but they're actually are 3D, like, swords and models, just kind of squished down. Eventually we'll convert some into basically flat images, so they just have less poly count. And sorry, I hadn't controlled Z'd in Unity yet, so it takes a second. This is my spot, secret entrance. That's a massive city. Yeah, Captain, it is. Wait, which city is this? This is Night Harbor. This is the one that you guys were running around in a bit. So, this is, I think from what I saw of your guys' streams, you hung out in the northern Newbie Yard and Shaded Dunes, and then that little bit in Wyrmsbane, if I remember correctly, right? I didn't even touch the market or Sojourners Camp area. I didn't realize the city was that big. Yeah, it's a big city. The city itself is large because we want to do player housing. But we don't want to do instance player housing, so we need we need the space to have buildings that players can, you know, purchase or rent or whatever. And then there's also going to be encounters within the city itself. So there's kind of how like Valius and EverQuest had Kael, Thurgoden, and Skyshrine factions. There's going to be factions similar that are kind of at each other's throats inside the city. So depending on which faction you choose, you know, it might open up some quests, and you might, you know, go and kill certain factions for certain items and things like that. So there's going to be kind of like an internal strife within the city between a couple of the different factions that make up the city. So there's going to be that. There's, you know, like up in the necropolis, this area is still super, super rough. But this is going to eventually be a kind of an outdoor, potentially some indoor cavernous areas, but it'll be an encounter space. So there'll be like probably skeletons or ghosts or something haunting this part of the necropolis. That's kind of Petra themed. And then there's eventually going to be a sewer system underneath the city, and let me see, get some goblins concepts in here. There's the one I'm looking for. So goblins concept here, I can scale it up. You can see how there's buildings, and there's these kind of planks of wood that'll be across some of the streets. I haven't done this in this version of Shaded Dunes. In the old version, I played around with it a little bit. If you go back to one of like the really early environment art VODs, you'll see me kind of working on it. Parts of it are actually in the city, hidden. Hidden. They're not as hidden as they used to be, but so yeah, you got that, and then underneath those planks are actually, and the city itself is built on the ruins of a previous civilization. And I cannot find this picture in, oh, here it is. Sorry, my image, oh my gosh, my image viewer is opening up really small. So underneath the city is actually the bones of an old civilization. So you've got these areas where you have, you know, half buried in sand, houses and streetways and stuff like that. And they're actually going to make up portions of the sewers. So the sewers will be built out of, there'll be actual like sewer tunnels, and then you'll run into like buildings, and they'll be like interior buildings or streets of buildings will be used to kind of create the sewer system. So that'll all actually be encounter spaces underneath the city. And in some areas, we want to have it where, like, let's say you're running around. Oh my, that seam opened up that I didn't catch. Let's fix that. Hold on. Make sure there's nothing else opened up around here while I'm doing that. But anyways, so let's say like right here, there could potentially be, you know, a hole down, and you'd be able to walk across those wood planks and look down and see, you know, maybe mobs or something running around down there, or high-level players pulling mobs or something like that. So that's kind of what we want to attempt to do. We'll see, you know, if we just end up, if it ends up being too much for one zone, it'll get broken up into you know, other zones. So maybe the sewers, you can see parts of them from below, but the actual sewers would be their own zone. And let me bring back up my window because I can't see what you guys are saying. Not sure if this, or if you can even answer this, but is there an option or an open alpha test thing planned anytime soon? Just missed the last one, and I'm grumps. Oh, I'm sorry. That stinks. Not for a little bit. So what we are actually doing is, we did a stress test. It was a huge milestone for the project. It kind of let us see what, where our issues are under load that we just could not do in our friends and family. Like, we did a friends and family stress test, and I think we got to like 80 or 90 people. And we basically 10x'd that out of the gate on Friday. So we saw all sorts of, I personally didn't see it because I don't know how to do that, but like Ali was able to see all sorts of things that was going on, see how the server handles when, it's getting spammed by, 900, 800 people logging in, or trying to log in right away. And as you guys saw, he was able to make some adjustments on the fly, that type of thing. So that was a big thing. We also are shutting down temporarily our friends and family stress test. Or not stress test, but test server. So the friends and family server is going to go away for a bit, and we are going to start working on some stuff that the tech guys couldn't really do, because we kind of have been doing since the end of December kind of a live service update to the test server. So every week about, we would push out a new build for the friends and family. So they weren't able to really tear down any of the tech to do something that might take more than a week of testing. So we're shutting that down. They'll be able to kind of break some stuff a little bit to rebuild it better. And we're going to actually probably be taking a break. I want to finish up these last couple houses over here in the Western District, but we'll probably be stepping away from Night Harbor and kind of doing it in intervals. So, we've been focusing so much on Night Harbor just to kind of get it most of the way flushed out in terms of the overworld stuff. And for the most part, it's fairly flushed out. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. But from here, we're going to actually be working on a new dungeon, which I don't think I'm making any huge reveal here, is an Ashira-themed dungeon. So that will be the next one, and that will actually be off. It'll be linked to Shaded Dunes, unless something is changed that I'm not aware of. But we're going to be doing some design meetings and kind of talking through what we want that dungeon to be. And then we'll do, a very similar thing to what we did with Wyrmsbane. Once we kind of have that concept of it drawn out, we'll go through, do a block out real quick, and then do a rough pass of population. And then we'll start testing it, start adding in, quests and lore and items and things like that. And then, again, a lot of testing, a lot of additional wings and stuff like that. Actually, here, I'm going to hop over to Wyrmsbane. Let me save real quick. Because I'm sure some of you didn't get a chance to hop in there, and it might be new to the streams and might be new to the project, so you guys can see what Wyrmsbane looks like. Again, textures for the environment are still pretty rough. We haven't really done that as a focus. It's been really just focusing on geo for the most part, just because there's a lot of geo that needs to be generated. So you'll see a lot of the same textures throughout the world. That won't be the case when the game comes out. There'll be a lot more variety. Wyrmsbane will be different from other areas and stuff like that. Turn up the lighting. Just gonna let out fly or something in here. That's what I get for opening the windows. But yeah, so here's Wyrmsbane. This is the area you guys zone in at. You can see it's a fairly decent sized dungeon. It was supposed to originally be a small dungeon, but we kept expanding upon it. So I think the furthest people got in it were about here. And I think a couple of groups killed Timmy. So that would be over here. So, you know, basically during the friends and family test, you know, this area was explored and all of this was not. So there's a lot of dungeon left to be explored. And we haven't even really developed this area of it yet. So that's why it's pretty bare bones cavernous. We still have to do a population in here. Still need to kind of get some traps and stuff working. And then once we kind of have a population and kind of really themed out what we want to do with this, I had to go through and do like a more kind of finalized geopass and maybe prop it out a little bit. We also want this area to hook up to the sewers. So like the sewer area will eventually hook up to here. So you'll be able to zone in from underneath Wyrmsbane as well. So there's going to be all sorts of cool stuff, you know, that, again, nobody... Friends and family have gotten to test it, but nobody made it there or down into the lower bowels of Wyrmsbane. Super pumped for that district. Sounds like my kind of place to hang out. Welcome to the stream, Stonelistic. Oh, I think I missed some stuff. I missed it. Massive. Wait, or which cities? Okay, I already read that. Sure if there's answered. Oh, sorry, I was in the middle of answering that. So, I got really sidetracked there. But yeah, so that is the next step. The next time we do testing, we'll probably solidify that dungeon at least, maybe another couple zones. This zone, again, came together in like 2 days. And, you know, has been expanded. So, like, these little wings on the side here were additions. This area got expanded, and, like, this little kind of segment off to the side and behind it were added. That was added. The caverns were added. And then, where am I? Right here. This room, this hall, and that room were all added eventually as well, just because we wanted more stuff. And then these passages underneath here were added as well. But, you know, in a weekend, we were able to basically get this up and running. So we want to get some more stuff. We'll probably, after that point, we'll spin up... and this is more of a guess. This isn't 100% confirmed on what will happen, but we'll more than likely solidify that stuff, spin up the friends and family again to test all the stuff out a little bit before we open up for another like testing weekend, and then we'll do another testing weekend, and you know, depending, we might, you know, open it up for a longer period of time. You know, maybe a full weekend or something at that point, where it's just open. We might not have GMs on, you know, let's say we run it for 48 hours. Again, that is not a promise, that's a hypothetical. But if we did do the next one as like a 48-hour test or something along those lines, I doubt there'll be a GM on for the entire period. Like, I was on for all... 12 hours of the stress test on all 3 servers, except I did drop server 1 for a bit on Saturday, just because I was getting swamped on that server and I couldn't do anything else, because it was very obvious that the word was getting around in groups that I was sowing people. I couldn't do anything else without having like a group of like 10 people in front of me hailing me. Which was awesome, but it was fun. Wow. Hold on. Zombie Slicer, thank you for the follow. Oh, and a raid. Awesome. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Scuffed Boomer, thank you for the follow. Gleef. I apologize. I butcher everybody's name. I'm dyslexic. Just forewarning, because there's like 40 of you in here now, and I usually have maybe like 25. So, welcome everybody new. Thanks for joining the stream. I am super behind on chat today, because you guys are super talkative, which is awesome. So I do apologize. Maybe a little sunken city by the water ramp lighthouse. Possibilities that might actually be something you see later. Again, the city itself is built up on the ruins of another civilization, so you'll see more of that in the future. Last one was just a technical test. They're doing alphas yet. Yeah, exactly. We're not actually in alpha yet. You know, this isn't even really pre-alpha. It's kind of like a pre-alpha. Just because we're so open with development, you know, if you go back and watch any of the VODs, and if anybody's new, I just put the YouTube channel where we post all our VODs. Hold on, why did that stop playing? There we go. But yeah, if you go back, you can watch, you know, us build, like me build all of, or maybe not all of this, I did a lot of it off stream, but you can see me going through and like lighting it and fixing and bug fixing all sorts of weird geo issues and lighting issues and stuff like that happened. So we're very open in terms of development, so we don't really have anything to hide. Like, you guys can see us build the game. You guys can ask us questions. You know, we listened to suggestions and stuff like that. Doesn't mean every suggestion we get will actually make it into the game, but it kind of helps us gauge kind of what people are thinking and what they're looking for and that type of stuff. But yeah, don't think of what you guys even got to play was alpha or even like pre-alpha. Because we're so open, we really just wanted to, one, let you guys kind of in and kind of actually see that it's really, like, what you're seeing on the streams is real. And, you know, there's no smoke and mirrors. You know, the game is what it is at the moment. And then, yeah, just making sure that the tech works. And that, you know, it will hold up to larger loads, and we can, you know what to expect, and then we can take that data, improve points where we can improve it, and then that will allow us, when we get to more of like an alpha or pre-alpha stage, to have longer testing sessions and stuff like that. So come for the district. Sounds like my kind of place to hang out. Evening, folks. Hey, Antrip. I think I already read that. From Captain. Touch the market of the Sojourners. I didn't realize it was that big. Man, I apologize, guys. I'm super far behind on chat. I'm trying to catch up. I didn't even touch, or I just read that. Yeah, we ventured out and in. What's the easiest way to get between the two starting spots? Through the city or through the wilderness? It's through the city. You can technically get to the from the northern to the western newbie yards through the necropolis, but it's pretty dangerous. The skeletons there are higher level. I think they're like 5 to 8, somewhere around there. So you don't want to get aggro from those skeletons when you're low, so I would recommend going through the city. And if you stick to the main road, it's a pretty short run. You just gotta kind of know the path to run along. So questing and fighting will happen inside the city. Yes, there will be quests and fighting and factioning within the city itself. So if you mess with one faction, you may be KOS to that faction, but then you may not be KOS in another section. And faction will play into the new dungeon as well. Unless something has changed that I'm not aware of. kind of like RuneScape or WoW's Stormwind. Zombie Slicer. Oh, I did. Okay, so I'm like 5 minutes behind in chat. We're also had instances as well. Yeah, we will not have any instancing. There is no plan for instancing in our game. Everything will be open world. There's potential, you know, we might do something like spawnable bosses, or, you know, maybe like locking an area to a group or something like that. But there will be no instance. Like, you don't go up, you click on a door, you zone into your own instance of a dungeon. That is not the plan. We want there to be, you know, players walking around, seeing each other, interacting. You know, if you're in the dungeon and, you know, there's a higher level area below, you're going to watch higher level players run past you with cool looking armor that you are going to be like, oh, I want that armor, or I want that really cool glowing sword. So you'll get those interactions that are not at, you know, not that they're not common, they're just not as common in some modern games nowadays. How goes it, Betas? Hey, Zombie. I guess Zombie Slicer. I'll try to remember to call you Zombie Slicer. How's it going? I enjoyed your stream after the test closed down. I was hanging out and listening to you for a little bit there, as you were going through the different abilities. Magnamar, thank you for the subscription. That was very kind of you. And I believe welcome to the stream as well, because I think you followed. Yeah, you followed over the weekend. How's it going? Let's see. I promise, guys, I'm trying to get caught up. I want to go back in so I can finish exploring Wyrmsbane. There's a lot to explore that wasn't explored. Like I said, I think the furthest anybody made it was about here. So, like, this section has been explored, and down below has not. Valeroth also subscribed with the Prime. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Let's see here. Can't wait for the lore, Captain Codwell. Yeah, that's the one thing that we've actually, for the most part, kept on the DL. I know Sean will occasionally spill the beans here and there. Whoa, you guys are starting on a hype train. Nick resubscribed with a Prime for a total of 9 months. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Oh, it wasn't quite a hype train. The thing had the train go across. It's 93% of the way. Anyways, want to finish exploring? All right, just read that. Man, this is exciting to watch. Thank you, Betas. Oh, no problem. And again, guys, I was gonna originally, my plan for today was I was just gonna play a class I hadn't played, but the development server's down, and I don't want to dox everybody on the test server if they're playing. So I'm just kind of floating around and kind of talking with you guys. Oh, Valeroth with 100 bits. There we go. Hype train level 1 complete. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. But yeah, normally my streams, I'm doing level design. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm level designer and environment artist. I'm one of two. I've been on the project for coming up on 2 years. It'll be 2 years in the beginning of September. But yeah, so that's normally what I do. Sometimes I do some shader work, that type of thing as well. Or props on occasion as well. Um, nice. Holy cow, that's massive. That's huge. Yeah, it is. It is. Captain Codwell, we killed Timmy. I know the second group that killed him as well. Yeah, I saw. Was it on your stream, Cap? I think it might have been on your stream, Captain. You guys were running around with Nick just before he went and spawned Lord Capsu on everybody. I debated doing reaction videos as well and just kind of reacting to everybody's streams on stream, but I watched everybody's, so then I was like, ugh, I've already like watched most of the streams that I could find, so I felt like it'd be me forcing reactions as opposed to reacting, because I've already my general reactions already happened. So next time I will try to leave some of the streams, or I won't have all of them up at once, so that I can get caught up, and I'll do it on stream. Future note for next stress test, or next whatever kind of test we do. Gonna need a good party size for that place. Oh yeah, you definitely, if you're coming in here at like level 2 maybe, but level 3, you definitely want like a full group. You can get overwhelmed in Wyrmsbane very, very quickly. You know, as you get down here, it gets a lot rougher. This is like the final boss room. Well, the current final boss room. There might be higher level bosses in the cave area, but as far as things have been worked out. But there's all sorts of different areas with you know, here's another boss room. There's bosses in each of these rooms. But it's big. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy running around Wyrmsbane. It turned out really well, I think. I mean, I'm biased. I made it, but you know, it was a team effort. The initial idea for what it was going to be was written up by Hamad. He wrote up kind of a general, because he's got a tabletop background, almost kind of like a DM like overview of what a dungeon would be, and then I just kind of took his prompts and turned it into Geo, and then Nick populated it, and it has grown to what it is now. Let's see. How do you get into Wyrmsbane? Let me pop back over to Night Harbor, and I can show you guys. Let me turn the lights back on. That would help. It's going to take a second to load, because it's got to load all these different levels. So cool to see it evolve. Keep up the awesome work, man. Gonna have invisible floors with a Minotaur. There may or may not already be invisible floors and walls in Wyrmsbane. There may eventually be slippery floors too in certain areas, but we don't have the slippery floor mechanic operational. So for Wyrmsbane, if you're in the Western Newbie Yard, there's an area up here with a bunch of torches. This is actually a bunch of archaeologists kind of set up a camp, and they have dug out this cavern, or they've been digging in this temple complex and found this crack and have progressed. There's going to be some statues and stuff in this area eventually, and have discovered an old sealed tomb, and that is Wyrmsbane. That's all the lore drop you're getting. But you'll be able to eventually kind of figure out why Wyrmsbane is there and what's going on, and what kind of evil is afoot. It's a really cool story. I like it. can I be a part of a family, please? Or part of family, please? Challenge accepted. So can you assume this is 3 months out for the next test? I would say at least end of summer. That's a complete guess. I have no idea on the timetable. But like I said, we want to get some of the tech stuff that we can actually like break down now. We want to refactor some things from my understanding. Again, I'm not on the tech side of this, minus like some of the tech art. And then we want to add in a couple more zones and we want to revamp some zones and add in a couple new dungeons. So we want to get that stuff in, and then we'll have to test it, and then we'll probably do some sort of test at that point. So my guess would be at least by the end, or at least end of summer, if not a little bit further out. But stay tuned. You know, I know, Captain, I saw you were in Discord already. That's the best place to be. You'll be able to, you know, you'll know if you're in Discord, or if you're a member of the mailing list and read the updates. You'll know when it's coming. We do not hide that stuff. So. This game is awesome so far. Well, thank you. We really appreciate it. It's really been fun having you guys in, and playing with us. It's been really, really fun. You know, it was, it was a lot. Like I said, I was on 3 servers the entire time. Or, well, not the entire time. Most of the time on Saturday. All 4 hours on Friday, and then I was in multiple streams throughout the entire thing, just watching people's reactions and engaging with chat and stuff like that, and it's a lot of fun. You know, this is a lot of fun too, just being able to kind of interact with you guys. Hey Patrick, how's it going? Dang autocorrect. Hey Chaz. Oh my god, you guys are so talkative today. And I'm so slow with the chat. I apologize. I love that aspect of Vanguard. I got lost in the massive city. Alarm. You'll eventually learn it. To answer the question earlier, the easiest route is to just follow through here, come down, and then just kind of follow the slanted road. Don't go straight down towards the ocean. Excuse me, I'm getting hiccups. And then cut down through here where this little, like, planter bench thing is. And then cut across. If you're coming from the western yard, if you just run straight towards... This is going to be a giant door, this brown thing. This is going to be a big sealed double door eventually. But if you run down that, and then you, again, see the planter, and then see the floating pink crystal that's glowing. Eventually it'll be spinning as well. That, if you just kind of go towards that, that'll get you to Sage Side. And then it's just kind of a shot straight towards the, you know, Wizard Tower to get to the main entrance. That's the easiest way through the city. If you need to get to the Necropolis, you can actually... come in, if your faction's good with them, you can come into the Red Mantles and kind of go down through this hallway here, and it will put you in the newbie yard for the Necropolis. So, been trying to kind of clean up some of the you know, the ways so you're not having to do a bunch of backtracking. So there are shortcuts to get around once you kind of find them. And there's gonna be a lot more signage. Right now there's you know, temp signs, which are just basically like text on a bare square with a like plaster texture on it. You know, there will be a lot more signage, you know, done by Erkenstaff and Goblin, so it'll look more like that. And you'll be able to use those for navigation. Massive sprawling dungeon. That were not instance. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what we want. Sprawling instances, not instance, people you seeing other groups, stuff like that. Hope you guys aren't gonna add an auction house or a non-player driven fast travel as well. We do not have a plan for an auction house. We have a plan for, and we haven't started implementing yet, so we'll see how it works. But we have a plan for a system that would allow for like an like if you're an EverQuest player, an EC tunnel type system, but allow people that don't have the time or don't want to sit around and you know, auction off their stuff to have a satchel that you can put stuff in and you agree to terms with someone who's going to be a merchant. So basically, you get a bag, or you give them a bag, you set the terms of how much you're going to sell something for. If they sell it for more, they can, you know, they keep the extra. Or percentage of whatever, you know, however we have the system set up. But essentially, they'll get a fee, you get X amount. If they try to delete the bag or, you know, it takes too long, the bag would be sent back to you so that, you know, there's a fail safe. So like, you're giving them this stuff, but they can't just take it and run. Like, it automatically goes back to you if it's not sold, and if it's sold, the money goes to you, that type of thing. So we want to have a system like that, so that it keeps that player interaction portion of it. Again, we haven't actually started working on it, so we'll see how it all kind of works out in practice, but that's kind of where we're going with what we want to do. Hey, the stress test was amazing. First time I have caught anyone live who works on the game. Keep up the good work. Oh, thanks, Magnamar. Glad you enjoyed it. And again, thank you for the sub. See it? Oh. There we go. Okay. See, I'm getting further behind on chat. I'm doing bad today, guys. I apologize. Congrats on 2 years. Not quite. I'm getting there. I will have been on the team for 2 years. My first contact with Sean when I like applied for the 3D artist position, that me and Zukin were both brought on from that one position posting, was September 3rd of 2021. So beginning of September will be when I first started talking, and basically, like, I think that weekend I had a Skype conversation or a Discord conversation. Anyways, we had some kind of video call between me and Sean, and I immediately started working on stuff. Granted, most of that stuff didn't actually get into the game. It was kind of like, hey, how does this look? And then it was like, oh, this is cool. Here's a couple of files that we've used, and then I rebuilt the original marketplace that was in the old Night Harbor. So these I've actually carried over from the old marketplace, just with new meshes with like trim sheets and stuff like that. So I did that, and then when I showed that, I got the official "you're on the team," and then got access to everything. So official time was like mid-October, but when I first kind of like started working on the project was the first week of September. But it has been a crazy fast 2 years, and that'll be about the 3-year for the project as far as I know. As an environment artist, how much of the zone layout or dungeon layout is sketched out or pre-designed before you get into Unity? How much is kind of done just on the fly and noodling around in Unity? So, I can show you guys. We had for the city, Hamad, did a initial, again, he's got a tabletop kind of background. He did an initial layout, kind of like this. And again, it was more district based. So you can see you've got, you know, the kind of temple complex, which is right now just a big room just like this. There's nothing going on in there. Eventually there'll probably be links with the necropolis, but it hasn't been put in yet. The Traveler's Ward, the Garrison, Twilight Harbor, which again is named the docks over here, so you'll frequently hear me call it that. Salt Breeze, Necropolis, Sage Side, High Point Terrace, and then the Bends. And then from that, kind of did a high breakdown of all the different things we wanted in the different zones. And this has been tweaked a little bit, and you know, stuff like some of these catacombs and stuff like that hasn't been built. But that was kind of it. And then from there, I had already started building the inn in the previous version of Shaded Dunes, or the previous version of Night Harbor, which was in Shaded Dunes. So I brought that over. I brought over these buildings, which had been concepted out by Goblin, that were in the other one. And I had built a dungeon. Where is it? Underneath the old Night Harbor, and it's still in here. It may end up being moved somewhere else in the game, but there's a whole dungeon that I don't know if anybody actually found. I didn't see anybody saying that they found this. I don't think it's populated right now, so there's not much going on in here. But this was initially a test to see how much I could fit just in little areas like this. So I was like, oh, I'll make a little like smuggler's den down here. So, and then I cut a hole in the floor and punched a hole through here, and then added this like weird like cultist temple underneath, and then did this whole dungeon. And originally this linked up to some ruins underneath the city, but that has not carried over to this section yet. So there was a whole kind of exploration, so that some of that stuff came in initially, and I did a super like the sides of the walls of the ziggurat and this part up here, and my Unity's being weird there. So like this and this were all part of it, so you can see how like just bare bones and rough it was. And then from there, it was just kind of going off of some of the concepts that Goblin was drawing, and starting out over here, because we knew we wanted to cut off. So the old Shaded Dunes originally came to about here. So we cut off a little bit. We cut it off here. We're like, okay, we're going to make a newbie yard. Started doing the newbie yard. Started blocking in the walls, and then I just started pushing this direction. Sometime around when I started this was when Ham did that document I mentioned earlier about Wyrmsbane, and was like, oh man, I'm like super inspired just by reading it, so I'm like, I'm gonna knock this out. And I knocked it out. I think my kids were at their mom's for vacation, and I think I was home alone for the weekend, or they were at their grandmother's or something. So I just put on some music and had a glass of wine and just knocked out Wyrmsbane. But yeah, that was kind of it. And then by about the time I was getting to the necropolis, we had put out an environment art position and hired on Simon, also, or AKA Blue. And then I tasked him to develop the docks, and I was expecting like just a couple warehouses and stuff like that, and he went, you know, crazy with it, and we were all like, whoa, this is awesome. So it ended up being way cooler than we had initially like envisioned. So yeah, as he's been working on this, I just kind of have been like jumping all over the place. But yeah. That was kind of how the city developed. But a lot of it was just, again, kind of free-form, playing with it, seeing what worked. Again, I work a little bit differently than Simon does. I do a lot of, like, I block out kind of the structures and where I want things, or I think I want things, in a form like this. And then I will, once I kind of, I'm 100% happy, or really close to happy, I'll start to actually, like, model the interiors, and then I change the exterior based on that. Where Simon will do, I don't know if he's got any in progress non-interior ones. No, I don't think he does right now. He will kind of just model from the outside and kind of put where he wants the windows and stuff, and do all of that, and then go back and do the interiors later. So, different approaches, but they both kind of get the job done. Good times. But for the dungeon and stuff, we could also, you know, sketch some stuff out. Ham hit the document that he'd put out, kind of did that to a degree. It was, you know, like, oh, there's gonna be an entranceway, but it didn't really say much what the entrance was. You'd get to an antechamber, and then or what we call the antechamber now, but I think it was just like a hallway that kind of went into a T shape in the document. One side went to a chapel, one side went to an ossuary, and it didn't really say what they were beyond that. So it gave me enough kind of inspiration of, like, what the points of interest would be, and then I could kind of make the level design work, and, you know, kind of make it fit the gameplay as best we could. It was good to see you in game, Paytas. You guys got me with the Night Terror. Night Terror has gotten me too. The first time I was like, oh, a named. And he ripped my face off. Ripped my Necro's face right off. You know, an old, not the one I was streaming last week, but previously. My group got down and killed the named, that starts with a T, forget his name. Everybody just refers to him as Timmy. I think it's Timond Bell. Something like that. I just refer to him as Timmy. That was what the friends and family name ended up being. It was great to watch everybody play. Oh yeah, I completely agree, Patrick. It was so much fun watching you guys play. And you know, even with the lag issues and stuff like that, everyone seemed to be pretty positive, which was awesome. The fact that you guys were able to see kind of like what the game was, even with the little stutters and stuff like that, was really cool. And the fact, I said this earlier in the stream, but like, you guys were, you know, we weren't prompting you, but you guys were saying in chat, in streams, in Discord, on forums, that you were feeling a lot of the things that we wanted you to feel as designers, like from what the project is, and what we want. What we want, you know, the game for us is, you know, a love letter to those games that we loved and we grew up with, essentially. And that a lot of people were hitting, like, a lot of the notes that we wanted to hit were being hit, was at least for me, was really validating. And shows that we're going down the right path. I like the music. So chill. Yeah, Robert's music is great. For anybody who's new, who doesn't know, I finally made a button for it. That is the playlist. You can listen to, and I'm listening to it right now, Robert's music. I actually haven't listened to the new music track, or the merchant track, or not the merchant, the trainer track. I was going to run around and listen to that today, and I haven't had a chance to. But yeah, Robert's crushing the music. He is an artist. I definitely ate the board a few times. Oh yeah, that is a very common common trait. Everybody dies. Any clue on that place floating above the desert. There's a place floating above the desert? I've heard there's also a similar one that's crash landed into glass flats. But that'll be a mystery for another time. Where we keep the lore down and not like, we don't want to do a big massive lore dump. Essentially, we want you guys to explore and learn and discover what's going on. And those areas that you saw that kind of stuff is super rough. Just to kind of have it in there. That'll all get updated and changed and look, you know, get a facelift essentially. But yeah, that'll be cool to get to when you eventually get there. Probably a new patcher. Will we need to download a new client before then? Yeah, but what Nick said, it'll probably be a new patcher. This is like the 10th version of the patcher I think that you guys have right now. And when it gets updated, so far you just needed to re-download a new version. Hey Nordad, how's it going? I am so sorry guys, I'm so far behind on chat today. Paytas also wrapping around, also warps around lost spell plates. Yeah, I was saving a lot of people. So for anybody who got trapped by the doors, there's two things that cause that door issue. One, if you noticed how like you'd run around and things would spawn in a little bit later, like you'd see a nameplate and something would spawn in. So there was a little bit of a server lag with some of the sphere of influence when there was a lot of people, and that's something we need to iron out. So because they're spawning, the doors spawn in from the database, if you got into the sphere of influence for them and they didn't load in, you might be able to walk through the door, and then you walk through the doorway with no door, and then all of a sudden the door spawns, and then you hear the door close. The door also spawns in with the state being open, because when we built the gates were initially open. So I did the doorway like that, but because people would do /reload on their, you know, if something locked up, you could spawn the door, or you'd respawn the door would be open, you'd walk in, and the door would close behind you, and you get stuck that way. So there was two ways people were getting stuck, but hopefully we'll be able to iron those out by the next time you guys get in, or it won't be as bad at least. I had a blast playtesting. And thank you for opening up the playtest to us all. I still can't believe this was only a proof of concept. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you, Flurain79. I might have gotten... I probably butchered that. I apologize. Again, it's a rite of passage. I screw up everybody's name. I want to say the first time, but I'm going to just be honest with myself. I screw up everybody's name most of the time. So, yeah. But thank you, and welcome to the stream, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. And I'm behind Talstead, the Royal Rat King, and D9 Phoenix. Thank you all for the follows, and welcome to the stream as well. Let's see, the Winding Path in Salt Breeze. Yep, there will eventually be more paths and stuff in Salt Breeze, and like I mentioned in the beginning, so it'll probably get, the trees and stuff will probably get moved around. These were put in a long time ago, and since then we've talked about this will be like when there's in-game festivals or festivities, and you know, a lot of games do that where like you'll have like, you know, merchants and stuff pop up. It'll be in Salt Breeze, so Salt Breeze will be kind of like where like celebration type merchants and stuff like that could pop up for things that happen in game. Screenshot the map for the week. I knew someone was gonna do that. I'm so far behind, but I knew people were gonna be like, screenshot it, or we're gonna do it in secret and then like sketch maps over it. But there you go. Let's see. Found it. Oh, well, that emote is broken. Yeah, some of the emotes break on Twitch, I've noticed. We could also see it clip through the plane near the southern area. Yeah, you probably could. It's interesting to see how people model shit in the editor with similar styles as people build crap in Lego games with space engines and stuff. Yeah, it's yes, Tim and Bell. There you go. Timmy. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, that part of how I learned to model was watching other people model, and a lot of like breaking down how models were built, a lot of like reverse engineering and stuff like that. Are you scrolled up? I can't even see what he said. Or are you scrolled up? I think you're reading messages from 20 minutes ago. Unless you... Oh, no, Nick, I'm like 20 minutes backlogged. I'm so far behind on chat. It's not even funny. I was happy to be part of the whole experience. Everyone was very wholesome. Well, again, it was super fun having you guys all in. Patrick says... hey, Captain, I got a message from Shammer. I wanted to thank him. Please let him know. Okay. Let's see. Absolutely. You'll see more of him when the game opens back up. Awesome. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Dying for pansies? Sounds like a hero. Shots fired. Did we say the next game test would be in 3+ months? Probably. It might be longer than that, Captain. We'll just have to see how this next phase goes in terms of the tech and how long it takes us to knock out the new zones or new zones / revamp zones. Again, you know, for the most part, we're mostly part-time on this. A lot of us are just moonlighting and have day jobs. So development kind of peaks and, like, you know, crests and peaks. So we'll see. It is coming up this summer, so like I'm my day job is teaching game design. So I have more time to dedicate to it, so the zone stuff might end up getting done faster. And again, like I mentioned before, zones that aren't Night Harbor take a lot less time. I mean, Night Harbor itself is like multiple zones. So for any EQ fans, this area right here has more buildings than all 4 Freeports put together. So it is a very large zone. So it takes a lot of time. Cities themselves take longer because there's a lot to think about, like where stuff's placed, where the points of interest are, how you're like where the main thoroughfares are, where people are going, how are you getting them there, how are you guiding them there. There's a lot to think about, and a lot to tweak as you tweak one thing, you may end up having to tweak something else. So they take longer to do. Don't be mad that I'm invincible and you're not. Maybe I just really game hard. I was invincible when the dragon was running around killing everybody. But I also knew it was coming, and I also had GM powers. Oh my god, thank you for saving me from that door. Oh, you're welcome. I was screaming at anyone who tried to help me. Yeah, we initially wanted the doors there to kind of prevent, not to prevent you guys from exploring, but from letting people learn the city without getting lost in every little nook and cranny that'll eventually, you know, more than likely be player housing. And because of some of the sphere of influence issues we were running into at load, which we don't run into when we aren't at load, those doors were becoming an issue trapping people. So whenever I saw anybody either send me a direct tell or OOC, and I noticed it. And again, I was on 3 servers, so I guarantee you I missed some. Also, I apologize if anybody did send me a tell and I missed some. Again, 3 servers, streams, and stuff. I know I missed some, so I apologize if I didn't respond to you. But I was getting pulled in like a million different directions the entire time, all 12 hours. But yeah, I tried to save everybody I could. I loved hearing people trying to pronounce your name. I was on the server when people got stuck in the slow spawning doors from the Sphere of Influence. Yeah, that's totally it. Seems like a fancy name. Streamed objects. Let's see. League Life. And I know I just butchered your name, but thank you very much for joining the stream. And for your first chat. I have the city approximately 1/3 mapped out. But caught up because I'm a perfectionist. Can you reboot Paytas? He's lagged. Yeah, just a bit. I'm a little lagged in the chat. I'm reading as fast as I can. You guys are talkative today, which is awesome. I figured it would be a more talkative stream. That was part of the reason why I didn't plan. I was originally just planning to play. But life will go on if you don't catch up. Thanks for the sal. No problem. Up and Dad. You're welcome. I still want to know how many sals I cast on Saturday. I'm guessing it was at least 500. So much to do. Definitely, Patrick. There's a lot for us to do. So hopefully when you guys see this again, it'll feel like not a whole new game, but like it'll feel like a lot more has been done. That's the goal. You public stress test. Now you gotta drip feed people or they'll get frustrated. There'll definitely be more tests in the future. Gotta run, have a stream. See you next time. Have a good stream. Later, House Rich, have a good stream. And I know you're gone, but if you watch the VOD, I wished you a good stream. Hey Trinity, how's it going? It's fun watching your stream. I got a map coming for us for reference. Nice. See, this is also a nice fun part because like you guys are starting to kind of do some more of the community stuff on the backside. I know a little bit of that happened in Friends and Family, but it's kind of fun to watch the community start to theory craft and build reference guides and stuff like that, even for early content. It's probably not going to help because you will have to fit it out and mark spots. Had a fun time this past weekend. The Big Brew thing. I'm glad you had fun. I'm almost caught up. But we'll be able to make a spot where an NPC is, and mark your own labels. Oh, nice. So it'll be kind of a build your own map type of a situation. I did a report in the staircase by the Spellblade Merchant. You could walk straight through it. Yeah, the Big Brew. I accidentally broke that when I was fixing something else. It's been fixed. It was fixed along with the water bug. So like when you guys saw you were able to swim a little bit above the water, I was fixing. Oh, we gotta. Let me fix that. We moved the shoreline a little bit, and this area didn't have water, and I was fixing that, and I nudged the entire water volume group by accident, and caused the water volume to actually be above the water. And that was fixed prior to the test, but it did not, unfortunately, make it. Hold on, I have this turned off. Why am I not seeing the splines? Weird. I'll figure it out later. I probably shut something off and don't remember what I shut off. But I'll fix that little water glitch. But anyways, yeah, this area, there was just no water, and I messed that up. But there were several fixes that were pushed, but I got them out just post us freezing the client for the test. So apologies on some of those. And that was one of them. Was the stairs over there that people were walking through. You could get around it by actually jumping on the railing, though. Next to it, you could walk up that still, because it's a separate mesh. I want to know how many kills you got with your plank floor at the entrance. That was more successful at killing people than I thought it was going to be completely honest. But yeah, if you drop down there at low level, and especially if you don't have Invis versus the Undead, those two skellies will mess you up real quick. Didn't work. I tried. What did Nick say? I think I missed something. Also in the bathhouse, I was doing a headstand while diving. Oh, was that you, the ogre in the bathhouse videos and screenshots that I saw over the weekend? I just saw an ogre like swimming like almost vertically in the in the bathhouse. I love that everyone loved the bathhouse. I love how that was turning into a meme for a second there. Before you fix that, can I chunk some gnomes into it? There's plenty of places to chuck gnomes. Oh, John, you found the cultist pit. There's a whole lot of space to throw gnomes in there. Paytas, the first troll ranger confirmed. I like trolling through dungeon design. What can I say? If you walk through something and fall into a pit trap, just know somewhere I'm laughing. Because that is totally what's happening. Every time you're like, God damn it! I fell through the floor, and now there's a bunch of mobs. That is me and Nick laughing at you. Or laughing with you, depending on what happens. Or how the situation's going. I like unforgiving dungeons. That's just something I enjoy. And I was a ranger, so I pulled dungeons, and I had to deal with the traps all the time. And getting rooted everywhere. Oh my god, goal root. The bane of my life during Classic. But... LOL, bathhouse and half was jacked. I was also an ogre in the bathhouse, and the model freaked out. I'll have to run in there with an ogre and see what's going on. It could also be the animations for the ogre right now, because the ogre has not been updated and switched over to the new system that Zukin and Patrick have been working on. So it's using the old system, and it's using human animations on its rig. So there's all sorts of little funky things. That's and there's something with I think there was a feign death issue. Like feign death wasn't resetting, so you had that like you were stuck in the fall animation. And some people were saying it looked like you were permanently stuck riding a Harley or something. Or the crane. I heard that was another thing I heard people calling it. Now every time I fall in the pit, I will say thank you, Betis and Nick. That pit was supposed to have a spike trap in it, but for some reason it broke a while ago, and we haven't had the time. We just haven't fixed it. I don't even know. And Zuka said this at one point too. I don't even know if it needs it because it was very effective without it. Let me see if I can find the animation. How long ago was that? When did I make that? God, we have so much stuff that goes into these updates. Like going back and looking at the updates is like, Jesus. How long ago was that? Hold on. I'm trying to find it, guys. Scroll up and Slack. Whoa! Hold on. Covering stuff. Oh, that was not. Look at me, a professional streamer, just completely jacking my stream up. Literally just closed like all my windows on myself. Ishwaratari! Thank you for 10 months. Crazy. Appreciate it. Let me find this video. Ah, found it. Okay, hold on. New window. There we go. So yeah, this was supposed to have a spike trap. And that one skeleton's head would be brought up and then slapped back down. But the trap broke. I haven't figured out why. Nothing changed. It just stopped spawning. So. But again, I may end up having to just move it to another location because it's already pretty efficient at killing everybody. I had some arrow pathing issues. Yeah, that Captain Caldwell, that was a new issue that showed up for us. It seemed to be under load, but Ali wasn't sure. He had to look into it. But yeah, there was definitely a weird line of sight issue that was breaking auto attack, the auto fire function of auto attack. And we have to look into that. Even more brutal, a trap with spikes. yeah. It would be if we end up doing it. If a dungeon isn't mean, it sucks. Exactly. That's my train of thought. I had some. Oh yeah, this is red. That pit claims so many lives. It did. It really did. I couldn't tell if it was people just like accidentally falling or if it was because it was too like people didn't have light sources and they were dark and they just missed the plank. But it was sure fun. I every time I dropped down there I would just laugh and then I'd start rezzing people. spike damage would break IBU. That was kind of my my thought. it was kind of the mean let's break Invis versus the Undead so that you wouldn't necessarily want to drop down there, but I also played around with potentially having that that plank be something that you as the players had actually dropped there. It had this whole elaborate system, but it already is fairly unforgiving, as everybody learned this weekend. And that, while making it really memorable, I think would have been too hard. We all kind of thought it was going to be too harsh for a newbie zone. So I might do something like that in a higher end area, but we'll see. I might also delete the VOD. Honestly, that gives more EQ feel. Broken traps, new to dungeons, dungeon designs. I just want to be able to exploit dungeon traps to also damage the enemy. Played outward, fun mechanic, definitely. Yeah, I could probably break it with the volume. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. The static just stopped spawning. Nobody touched it. It just all of a sudden stopped working. So it might be something with the prefab. I'll have to take a look at some point. Regardless, I want it to work because I'll use the spike trap somewhere. But we'll see. Just make the floor be a level check. If you're under 5, it'll open and eat you. Oh, there's floors potentially in Wyrmsbane that'll eat you. You'll fall right through them. Hey Goblin, how's it going? Did I step on your time at all? Sorry if I... Hold it, you were streaming? I didn't know you were streaming. If you were streaming, maybe. Floor is a mimic. If you were streaming, I did not realize, Goblin. Using dungeon traps to kill enemies, fun as hell. In some immersion games. That could potentially be something. I don't know. We'd have to see how we feel about that. And maybe do a test case. Because that could be used to cheese mobs. So, we'll see. I was streaming like an hour ago. Yeah, then we were totally streaming at the same time then. Yeah, I didn't even realize. I've actually had a lot. How many people did you have in your stream, Goblin? I've had like 40 this stream, which is higher for my streams normally. It might be the scope for you. It could break balance. It's super fun. Oh yeah, it's definitely fun. I enjoy doing that, but it would be one of those things we'd have to really see, like, is it something we want to do? I could see it maybe being like a mechanic, potentially, to get like to wipe a certain buff or something to make something targetable or deal damage to it, but doing straight damage, depending on how much the damage is, I could see that being really unbalanced. Unless something is like really, really strong. Or it's going to wreck you if you're not doing it. Maybe a special boss. Yeah, like a boss mechanic, potentially. It could do something along those lines. Yeah, exactly. Really broken for normal play. Yeah. That would be my worry. It just being broken for a group. Like, you could cheese XP, and then because of that, that would become you know, the most efficient method of XPing at that point. Just kind of wondering if there is any plans for illusion masks for classes, like old EQ masks. collection was one of the funnest things. I remember when I got a mask, the chinkering, it was awesome. Nick can speak more to it because Nick does the itemization, but I believe so, yes. I'm definitely a huge fan of clickies and clicky collections. My brother, who's not part of the team or anything like that, but my brother's he's even a bigger clicky fanatic than I am. I leveled his, I was a couple months ago, or up until the beginning of this month where I really started cramming for the stress test. I was playing a bunch of live EQ because I hadn't played in a while. And I was boxing his paladin. I got him up to like 115. And my god, his backpacks are just choked with freaking clickies. And I don't know his pattern of like what he's doing or where stuff is, so I just didn't mess with it. But oh my god, so many clickies. He is a clicky whore. But yeah, I'm all about clickies. I think the team is all about clickies. And I'm pretty sure there'll be like illusion masks and things along those lines. Because they're fun to collect. I know at one point on my ranger, actually I've done it twice. But the first time I did it, it took forever. I camped the Thought Whore in the Deep. I can't remember his name, but he dropped the clicky shrink staff or shrink wand. And man, I camped that thing like had to have been an entire day, maybe a day and a half. It was a long camp because he just wasn't spawning, and I wasn't the best geared at the time, so it took me forever to like peg him down with arrows. Oh yeah, that wand is great. Is it the wand of is impracticability or something like that? But I've gotten that at least twice. I got it on Praxis on my main, and then I got it again in Agnar. But when I did it again in Agnar, it didn't take me that long. One, I was overpowered with gear at that point, because TLPs are just so much easier to get gear, and you're just so overpowered in terms of damage from all like the innate AAs and stuff that you get without AAing. May we have a Paytas Dungeoneering and Trap Guide that gives our characters a plus to detect traps? But that would take all the fun out of detecting the trap the first time by falling into it. Or being told that there's a trap over there, be careful when you're pulling, and then falling into it anyways. Like, I have never, ever done an EverQuest. That never, ever happened. Watch out for that trap when you're gonna go pull the hand in Lower Guck. What trap? Oh, okay. I'll remember to turn there. Whoops! I'm down here with some undead frogs. Hold on a second. My son's at the door. What's up, bud? Okay. All right. Let's see. Falling into traps is the form of trap detection, technically. Yes! It is, John. It's a tried and true method for trap detection. And you learn where the trap is. You remember. Although I say that, and that trap that I literally just gave examples of, I may or may not have fallen into multiple times on TLPs while pulling Guck. Because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. And I missed and caught the corner of the trap. Good times. I guess I've hit a trap, a few traps, but they're all neutered, Soul B, etc. I rarely go into the Soul A or Soul B. I more. I've done a couple of like the longer camps for like epic pieces to help people. And obviously killed Nagy a bunch of times, but I honestly don't group in the souls as much. I know everyone loves them, or Soul D especially, but I don't know why. I just never went there all that often. Um, no damage unless you're bugged and takes 500 times. Nah, just get trolled hard. Be ready for anything. Every sacrifice of healers. Traps have never really been an issue, other than maybe Pit Trap and Velks, maybe Nugena. I played on Vanicki for a little bit, but the guild I got into was the pace was just way too fast, and I would never have been able to work on the game. So I stopped. I quit. But we killed all of Kale, and then we were doing like Charduck, and man, the trap going into like the area with the royals on the bridge, that trap was brutal at level 40. Oh my god, did it kick our ass. It was not pretty. They got past it, but it kept wrecking us. Yeah, it was not a good time. If everyone got caught in it, like normally you're just like whatever, it doesn't matter. But man, at level 40, that trap was brutal. But Solace will be attempted some traps. They didn't work right. Always bring a goblin by chance to your group. I still love your story about leading the two groups to their death in Wyrmsbane. Oh. I wish I had been spectating during that. Because there were several times, there were times everyone saw me running around in the dungeon, but there were also times I'd turn GM invisibility on and I'd turn off collision and I'd be flying in the walls watching you guys group in Wyrmsbane. I really wish that had been one of the times I'd been watching, because that would have been hilarious. Clearly you need a rogue to disarm. Yes. I think that would be a good skill to have. A dungeoneering, like, rogue skill. Alright, guys. It is getting... It's actually past. I started a little early. So it's past 10. I usually do 2-hour streams. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out tonight. Thank you for all the new subs. I need to update my sub sheet at the end, so I'll try to update that by my next stream. So I'm going to do my closing spiel, and we'll catch you guys at the next one. But for everybody who's new, and new to the project, that is our website. We are making an indie MMORPG, which we've been talking about this entire last 2 minutes. Or 2 minutes, 2 hours. Called Monsters and Memories. We just did a public stress test, which was pretty successful. We're pretty happy with the way it went, and it seems like the community had a positive a positive experience, even with it being in an early state. So that was awesome. Super fun weekend. If you didn't make it, don't be sad. We will have ones in the future, more public tests. It'll be a couple months probably. There's no ETA on it right now, but stay tuned. Join our Discord. A lot of our announcements and stuff will go on there, so if you're in Discord and active, you'll know when the next test is coming up. We also have a mailing list. Join that. We put out a monthly update. I just got all my stuff together for it earlier today, which actually I was just thinking I need to add another screenshot to it. my stuff. But anyways, yeah, that goes out like once a month. Sometimes we might send out a survey or something like that as well. So it's a good way to stay up to date. These are all the people that are currently streaming on Twitch. With, if you guys notice, VGFX has been added. Patrick will be, or is Patrick, are you still in here? Have you figured out times? Would you like to make an announcement of when your first stream will be? But Patrick is joining the stream team. So I'll let him announce that if he's still in here. If you have not caught up, or you're new to the project, you want to get caught up on some of the past VODs, we have a YouTube channel with like 330-ish videos on it now. There's a lot of content on there. So you go there, get caught up, kind of see all sorts of different parts of the game. Everybody kind of streams their own aspect of the game. Again, my streams are primarily level design and environment art based. And then sometimes I'll do like shader work, prop modeling, that type of stuff. If you are on YouTube, please remember to like, subscribe, comment below, click the bell, all that fun stuff. The more engagement we get with those metrics, the more likely YouTube is to push the M&M content out to people that are interested in classic MMOs, since the game itself is really inspired by that kind of classic first generation of MMOs. So we really appreciate everybody who does that. That is like one of the biggest ways you can help out right now. We aren't taking any donations. There's no Kickstarter, that type of thing. Is to help us spread the word of the game and get the game out there by telling friends, and again by liking, subscribing, that type of stuff. If you are watching on YouTube and you would like to participate in my live chats, there should be a link down below to my Twitch channel, Paytas the Ranger. If you click the link and then follow the channel, you'll get a notification whenever I go live. Also, if you're in Discord, you can opt into notifications for streamers. So when any of us go live, you will get a notification on Discord as well. Beyond that, guys, my stream times are normally 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 1 p.m. or on Mondays, and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays. In about 2 weeks, I will probably rework my schedule because my day job will kind of hit its end of the school year point, and I'll have some more time. So I will probably rework the schedule, and I'll probably add a third day. I don't know if I'll do it every week, but I'll try to add a third stream as we're building out the new dungeon and some of these new areas. But beyond that, guys, thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight, and thank you guys for hanging out and helping us stress test this week, past weekend. We had a lot of fun as a team. I hope you guys all had a lot of fun. Thank you especially to all my subscribers. Any of the new subscribers from today, you'll be added to the sheet by next stream. Appreciate all of you. It's really kind of you. But beyond that, guys, that is it for me today. I will catch you guys on Wednesday. So take care. Good night. See ya.